My name is Dr. Samson Misango. I am a consultant general surgeon and urologist in Nairobi, and this is my practice at the MESU Center. MESU stands for Medical, Surgery and Urology Center. So this is a facility I set up about 6 years ago in line with my vision of what I want for the world. But that's not where my story starts. I was born in a remote village in Kakamega. I've had a normal existence the way every other person in Kenya has lived from the village. I've gone to public schools all my life, from the time I began primary school to university. Everything has been in a public school. And growing up, most of my schooling in Nakuru, of course, you live with people who you can see you are a bit better off than them. But as you're growing up as a child, it's all a competition. So due to my academic achievements, I joined the University of Nairobi and graduated as a doctor. And since becoming a doctor, worked in different places, Nakuru, Mombasa, Nairobi. Went back and did my master's in Nairobi in surgery. Then I proceeded on to do my urology in Tanzania. And so just living around life. And at some point you begin questioning what is the value of life. And when you begin having those deep conversations with yourself, initially I grew up as a Catholic. I went out of the church. Then I became spiritual. So these days I call myself, I am spiritual, I am not religious. And at some point you meet young people who you can see what they're trying to do in life. And you begin questioning, is there something you can do to assist them in their progression? So the story of how I began getting into the modeling world. I had a friend who was a young model in college, and she had such a passion. Then she finished college, we lost touch. About 2 years later, she comes into my inbox and says, "Doc, I would like to get a job." And I look at this young girl and I ask her, "I thought you had a passion in modeling. What happened? Why are you not doing it?" She said, "Oh, it's a very exploitative." She feels very exploited because people are just looking for sexual favors. And that made me ask her, if you know that's what happens, why don't you set up your own agency? And she told me something which surprised me. She told me she has thought of doing it, but it is very costly. And right then, I decided I will sponsor her to have an agency and she will run it the way she wants. That's how we came up with this agency called Second Option. Second Option means we are giving people second chances. Because I realize here in Kenya, and from talking to her, not just in Kenya, but it appears to be all over Africa and all over the world, the models are so exploited. They are promised a glamorous thing. They come from very poor backgrounds, a lot of them. And people just want to use them for their bodies and profit. They pay money. They're not given any training that's supposed to have. And so I told the girl, I will set up one. You treat people the way you would have wanted to be treated in that agency. And we are going to basically be that beacon of hope for all underprivileged people in society. And therein is how we gave birth to the agency called Second Option Agency. So the name speaks for itself. It represents hope. And we want to identify young talents. Because you said you cannot just be a model who is glamorous without having something that you do that is useful. And when we started it, it was here in Nairobi. And our biggest push that made us different from other agencies was we used to do community work every month. And the community work we did was we were supporting children in primary school, public schools, okay? Providing school fees, not school fees, school uniforms. We used to call that campaign, Support One Child in a Public School every month. And so our models would come, they do trainings. At the end of the month, we would go to a person's either a school or their home. We give them school uniform. We give that child food and the family, and just spend some time with them. And that was our campaign, the way we started. And these were monies that were coming from my pocket as a doctor, not because I have a lot of money, but I felt this is the best we can do to make these girls who are joining with a hope to be able to help others. So we did this for several months. Then that was 2018. We had our first pageant at the end of the year. Identified people who are going to represent the agency. And we call them the face of second option. I fell out with the person who had begun the agency with me in that December because the pageant was a bit complicated, and I realized she was also exploiting the models. So the same vicious cycle was there, and I broke off from the agency for about 2 months until the girls, now the models, came asking me, now what do we do? You took us in, we're now part of the family, we now feel like orphans. And so I said, now I'm going to get involved fully in running the agency. So I looked for new staff and we rolled. And since then, we have been growing slowly and steadily. Then COVID came. COVID, of course, the challenging thing with COVID now in 2020, we had to suspend our monthly activities of the agency, especially they're going to meet people and give uniforms. So we went online, not the same thing. It was a challenging year. We lost touch with most of the families that we used to support. Then we continued with our annual pageants because the pageants that we do were to give a platform to the models to be seen and to have a recognition so that they can be able to fulfill their dreams of now going on to display their talents elsewhere. Because as we are building a platform. So we kept on having our annual pageants. Then from it becoming face of the agency, we now began doing what is called Miss Second Option. And then by 2021, we went to Miss Second Option Kenya, where we could invite girls from outside the agency to contest to become the face of the agency. In 2022, we now went global and formed what is called Mr. and Miss Second Option Africa. That is the pageant that we are running up to this year now, our second year of Continental, but our 6th year of actually having pageants. Now, what makes our pageant and our agency unique is we have a focus on community service. Now, every month, because now we've grown from Nairobi, we have branches in, this is the main office, which is situated in the MESU Center. The activities are sponsored by the MESU Center. That is how I link the agency and the MESU Center. So since MESU Center is the main sponsor, now we arrange for branches which are in Mombasa, Eldoret, of course Nairobi, Kisumu, Nakuru. Community service by these different branches, because of economic constraints, we have one activity every month in a different branch. So this month, I know we are having an activity, CSR. CSR is corporate social responsibility by the models in our Kisumu branch. Next month will be a different branch. So we have a budget. The girls identify a project. a community thing that basically benefits the society. They mobilize, usually they go to, they like going to children's homes, primary schools, vocation training centers, some slums, and they go and talk, they identify skills, they possibly recruit some models from there, because they go there as glamorous people, okay? And when you say they're glamour, it hides the inside, because these are people, a lot of the models that we get have gone through lots of circumstances, so we give them that beacon of hope. A lot of them come with depression, others come from broken families, others have never finished school, but they come here, we give them our branding, and they have this face which they project to the world, and that is what we run to, go and give other people hope. So, those are the activities we do every month. We enlist them at the fee that they pay. They get trainings every week, okay? Sometimes every 2 weeks they have training. Like today there was a training which is going on right on the top of this building. We do photo shoots with them every 3 months. We sponsor photo shoot because we have people that we bring to do shoots with us. Then we do pageantry, okay? So there's pageantry, and then we also give them opportunities for, if at all, their jobs. They go, they get paid some job, we get paid, they get 80%, we remain 20%. And that way it's hopefully to be able to run the activities of the agency. Then the people who win at the end of the pageant, like last year's winners, Mr. and Miss Second Option Africa, there'll be 3 girls, 3 boys. These ones, they get some cash reward at the end of the show. And then for the next year of their reign, we expect them to do some contribution as part of their obligation to society. So every month, they go out in their branded attire, they do a community project. And then, when they finish, at the end of the month, we give them an allowance. So we hold them for a full 1 year. And I keep on priding myself as being, we run the only pageant in Kenya, or maybe in Africa, or even in the world, where we actually give our contestants responsibilities for the rest of the year, for which they get paid for, and that builds a community that has stayed together for this time. So this year's contest now, we are having the second Mr. and Miss Second Option Africa. We have models, because we go out recruiting models in all the counties that are available. We go physically to some of the counties. Others we have online or auditions. We identify 3 top models in each of those counties. 3 boys, 3 girls. So those will be 6. Out of those ones, 6 models, 3 boys and 3 girls, we subject them to 1 month of what you call online challenges. Because so they come, first of all, they've done auditions. Then we subject them to online challenges to identify the top model in the county who is going to represent that county in the final pageant. This is going to be in Eldoret at Rupas Fun and Fitness Center. So we also recruit, for this year we have been able to get models who are going to come from Rwanda. We are going to get contestants from Tanzania, Ethiopia, Southern Sudan, and Zambia. So these are the ones who have gone through the same rigorous recruitment process. Of course, the international contestants, they did their auditions online. So this bootcamp, the online challenges, it entails people sending videos about their life, what they've done, what they are doing. They talk about their country or county, and then they also talk about a project which they would want to do or they are doing that adds value to society, because we are very high on projects that add value to society. And the one who now wins in the online challenges in each of the counties qualifies to come for the main event. We call them finalists. We also have 2 extra finalists who, because we try to find ways of mobilizing funds, so they have a chance in the online challenges where they do voting. So the top girl and the top boy who leads in the online voting gets an automatic ticket to the boot camp. The boot camp is going to be from 5th to the 11th at Matunda Beach and Resort. That is in Trans Nzoia. It's just about 30 kilometers from Eldoret. So they'll have a 1-week boot camp away from the hustle and bustle of Eldoret. Then we land in Eldoret for the main event. And each of these categories, from the online challenges to the boot camp to the main pageant, we give them scores. So there's 30% of the marks come from the online challenges, 30% of the marks come from the boot camp, and 40% will be at the main pageant. Such that it is not one particular event that defines who's going to win. So the winners will now, at the boot camp, will get to see all their projects. I think we have about 30 contestants this year in total. Yes, they're about 30. We make it a very open competition. The marks are shared. They get to know their weaknesses. And we say we are trying to introduce a different thing to modeling in Kenya. Right? So we will identify our winners. And those winners for the next year, they will be the ones who will be supporting their projects. The ones who don't have a project, they have to come up with a project. So every month, they give us a bit of what it is they've done for them to be able to qualify to get paid an allowance. And that is how we keep it. So we have a pageant and we have an agency that is running. The most challenging thing, of course, these girls come from, and the boys come from very humble backgrounds. They might look glamorous outside them, but it's very difficult for them to be able to raise, because for this year we decided basically to charge a fee for them to come to the boot camp, because it was very difficult for us in the previous years because funds are not available. But we want to work with people who share in our vision of empowering lives, identifying talents, people who believe in community service, to come and be with us, partner with us, because the money which we get will go towards sponsoring girls in the boot camp, will go towards sponsoring our activities in the underprivileged societies, will go towards sponsoring our allowances to give these girls, will go towards sponsoring our allowances that we give the staff who are volunteers. So in each of the branches we have staff members, a manager and an assistant manager that we recruit from the previous year's competition. So that's how this thing has been running. And I'm hoping as you go on every year, we'll keep on spreading into each county. Right now we are going into the outside the country, so the models will recruit from outside the country who are going to be at the boot camp, and the main pageant will be the country representatives who will hopefully spread the second option gospel in their country, and that way we'll spread and continue developing a very big project that will go beyond Africa if possible. And that is the story of Dr. Samson Misango, the MESU Center, Second Option Agency, and Mr. and Miss Second Option Africa.